Hello everyone, it's Tonya with Scribbles in Time. I am here this morning. It's very early here and the lighting's not great as always. It seems like this is just the time of year where I'm going to have shadows. But it's very early here. We do have a little bit of sun starting to peek through on my blinds, but anyway, I wanted to post a flip through of my rendition of a passport journal. And I say that very loosely because, and I'll explain in a moment, but this is my rendition of a passport journal, but it's technically not a passport. I've done it the same scale, same size, and I'll explain all that in a minute. So I do want to always try to give, you know, recognition to where my inspiration has come from for the different projects. And for this one, I'm a follower of Orly Avineri on Instagram. I have actually found her on Facebook, but she only has like 2 videos posted, and they're pretty older videos from several years ago. But I don't know a lot about her. I do know that she is an amazing artist. I think that she does different, what's the word I'm looking for? Different forms of art, but she does do journaling, and she's very inspirational for me on Instagram because she posts some really cool pictures on Instagram. So I highly recommend you find her and follow her. But she had a while back posted a picture of a journal, and I don't know what, I mean, I've seen the picture, I've got the picture in my mind, but I don't think it's a passport journal. But I do see where she's done passport journals before. In fact, one of the older videos I found on Facebook, at the end of the video, she does a little bit of a, I guess, her technique of doing a passport journal. But anyway, that's what started my thoughts going on the passport journal concept. And so I just literally put in a search on YouTube for passport journals and came across a couple of other videos. And I'm not really going to mention their names because, first of all, I don't remember their names. I think I only found, 2 that I watched. But the reason I'm not mentioning their names, not because theirs are not awesome, theirs are amazing, but I kind of went a different route with mine because I felt like I wanted mine to be done a little differently so that it would be very secure, which is why I kind of did a rendition of a passport journal. So let me explain all that again. So what I did have 2 old passports that I bought off of eBay. Really cool passports, neat stuff inside of this one. It came with this stuff in it. This one just came pretty empty, although I think there's a photograph of a man, whoever's passport, in here. So anyway, they're really cool. But as I was watching one of the other videos of their flip through, I just don't really get how secure. There's so much that gets attached onto these pages. And my concern with that is I don't know for sure once all of the weight of everything that you put in one of these, and I'm somebody that sits and flips through them a lot. I like to crunch them a lot. I'm not delicate, I guess, is what I'm trying to imply here. I'm not a delicate person. So I wasn't real sure how the thin thread of a passport book would substantiate all of the weight of what I knew I was going to put into one. And then my other concern was I'm weird about covering up original pages. And so much of this technique covers the original pages, and I don't want to do that. Like, this is one of those things I would have collaged around this, but I wouldn't have wanted to cover this up. So I'm just kind of, for me, this, like, I don't want to cover these pages up. So I almost would rather not use an original passport. Oh, and I forgot to bring my leather in here. Oh, no. So I have this really cool thin piece of leather that I think I'm going to end up covering. Knowing me, I'm going to make more of these. It was so much fun. So I have this really thin leather. My dad is very into leather. He does leather work. And so anyway, he's brought me some leather. And I've got this really thin leather that I think I'm going to cover the cover with. I wish I had it in here. I could show it to you. It really did look cool. I have thicker leather. Well, here's a wallet. I don't think this is going to be the same effect, though, because it's a very monotone leather, and the one that I have is just so dimensional. But as you can see, leather around this would be really yummy. I mean, wow. But anyway, that's another subject for another day. So here's what I did. Let me get these out of the way. What I did was I wanted a passport journal, but I wanted it to be very sturdy, and I didn't want to cover original pages. So I got one of the green file folders. I've got glue on my hands. I got one of the green file folders, and I cut it to the identical size of a passport. Now, I did make my cover. If anyone wants to try this, I want to kind of tell you my steps I took so that you can try this. I made my cover a little bit wider because I knew by the time I filled it, it was going to, you know, round out. So I made my cover a little bit wider. I don't think it was necessary. In the end, I kind of like that the cover is, you know, but again, that has to do with how wide you make your pages, and you can do that your own taste. But for me, what I was saying was, so I made mine the identical size of a passport, like that. Now, you can't tell now because it's all bulked out, but this, when you take it over to the spine, it was maybe a 1/4 of an inch wider. It wasn't much wider, but you can see there. And then these are the remnants of what's left. So we were supposed to be doing a craft day with my friends, Dee and Pam. Pam ended up not making it, which I was so sad about. I've got my dad coming to visit, and he is very, very vulnerable. He has a lung disease, and it's not a good one. It's a very, very bad one. He's on oxygen full-time, 24 hours a day. So any prayer warriors out there, I would really, really appreciate if y'all would totally encompass him in prayer. I want that shield of protection around him. But he was given a limited amount of time by a doctor, and that really got inside of his head. And so he's to the point with this COVID situation that he says he's not going to just sit around his house, and he wants to enjoy his life, you know, with whatever days he has left. And I get it. I respect it. And, but I'm scared to death. And my human side is just scared to death. So anyway, he is coming to visit, and I'm so excited to see him. I haven't seen him since, you know, since COVID started. We did do a rapid, I shouldn't say since COVID started. We did do a rapid test and went and spent a few days with him several months ago. But typically I see my dad a lot more often. Anyway, I digress. I don't even know where I was going with that subject. But anyway, my point to all of it was Pam was not able to make it. I wasn't able to reschedule because I've got my dad coming. And once he gets here, I am fully sheltering in place. No more gym. I've just got to stay home with him and make sure I don't bring anything back into him. So anyway, that was my point. So I missed Pam so much, but me and Dee still got together. And I took my extra one I had made so that Dee could use it. And we had a craft day making these. Now, it took longer than a day. But anyway, this was my leftover little remnants. So, as you can see, they're not as tall as this, but they're so close. So, I'm probably going to round the corners and make more. But then I might even do that leather look. Get those out of the way. Okay, let's do the flip through because... yeah, this is a lot to flip through. I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible. I've got a lot to do today in preparation of my dad coming. And anyway, so let me get going with this. Now, I do have some little of the photo corners that I want to try to incorporate in to the little pockets and tuck spots and stuff. Because for me, a lot of these pages would be perfect to attach pictures on. And I don't like to stick these on without knowing the size of a picture. So I'm just going to put some in. So bear with me as I do that because I just thought it would be convenient to do it during this flip through. So as you open the journal up on the very front cover, gosh, I keep getting off subject, y'all. I'm so random with my thoughts. What I did with these, so if anyone wants to try this, when I cut the file folder, I rounded the corners. And then I got some pretty sturdy, I don't know the weight of the paper, but it was pretty sturdy print paper, but it was already kind of had an aged look. There's not very many plain pages in here, but like here it is. And I had gotten that off of Amazon. It's pretty sturdy paper. Excuse me. So I put the paper inside of my journal. I think I did a normal passport, I think has like 8 pages. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I didn't find the signature where that counts. Sorry. 8, 9, 10. So I think I did 12. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. Sorry about that. So I think I did 12 pages in mine because I knew I was adding a bunch, but you can do as many as you want. Anyway, just trying to show the process I went with in case anyone wants to try to make one of these. Rounded the corners with the little corner rounder. I sewed in the signature. Now, I did it on a machine, so you can see how I did that. But I didn't want that to perforate my paper and cause the paper to tear. So I actually did a strip of Mod Podge down the center of each of the papers before so I did a strip of Mod Podge down that center of each paper to help strengthen the paper before I stitched it in. Does that make sense? Okay. Anyway, that's what I did. And then after I stitched it in, I went back and added strips of fabric in between the papers, again, as an extra security thing to keep the pages from being able to tear out. So that was my process for that. I think that kind of summarizes that. And then on the inside of the cover, I lined it with this yummy paper here that has lines on it. It's very aged. It feels like handmade paper. I'm not sure if it is or not. I got it off of, I don't remember, I think Amazon. Anyway, but it feels like handmade paper. So I lined the inside of the cover with that. So on the front cover, Dee had made these really cool pockets. She gave me 3 of them. And it looks like she used book pages and just put sheet protectors on them. And I love them. I don't know if the light is casting kind of a glare or not. You'll be able to see them better. And the other one stuff. So on this one, I tucked a feather in. You can see this feather has kind of an iridescent color on the tip. And I thought it just went with this bird so well. So I tucked that in, and I try to keep the iridescent part poking out of the top, like that. And then there's tabs here with these little X's. I keep having a cough, and I hate that. Yesterday I was sanding, and normally I wear a mask when I'm sanding, but because of all the mask situation, my mask was in my car, and I didn't bother to get it out, and I was sanding gesso, and I knew when it happened, it went into my eyes and down my throat, and I've been like tickling in my throat ever since, and my eyes are like red. But anyway, so that's that. And then down here on the bottom, I put this, my friend Kathy over at Rust Paper Scissors, she turned me on to this stuff, and then I ordered some from her. Once I got it in and saw what it was, I knew I had some somewhere from probably in the 80s. So I went through and found it. It took me forever. But anyway, so I found it. I have a fair amount, not a whole lot. But Kathy with Rust Paper Scissors has this twisted paper. Here's some I had ordered from her. It's green, and it just unravels. And so I did that here on the corner, and I like that it shows from the outside of this little booklet. So anyway, and then on this side, I tucked more feathers on the inside, and then I hand stitched and hinged this in. So that's the whole concept of this book, y'all, is that you hinge in a lot of stuff. I try to put tabs, but this is one of those kind of journals that never ends. You will be able to add stuff to this thing. I could see flipping through it 2 years from now and still finding little places to add a tab or tuck something. There's all kind of little, you know, hidden tuck spots everywhere. And again, I'm going to try to tuck some of these in as I go. So on this page, this is just another hinged in page. It's hinged onto one of the original, you know, pages that I had put in of the passport. And again, that's where I was saying it would be hard for me to use an original passport when I know I didn't want to cover up stuff. And it, you know, when you start hinging stuff in like this, it's hard then not to cover the original page. Like this first original page is all the way here. You can see all of the different hinges I've added in before this first original page. So that's, you'll start to kind of get a feel for this if you survive this flip through. So anyway, on this flip through, it's hinged in. Put a little ticket there with a piece of muslin there. Hinge that strip in. On the back, I put one of the ice coupons and another piece of that grungy paper. And then hinge this piece in and put a little tab there. I don't know if we could go through and watch this video and take $1 for every time I say the word hinged in this video. We're probably going to get rich because there's a lot of hinging. So on this one, there's a dime pocket and then a piece of that twisty paper. My thought process is you can unwrap that, make a note in it, and then tuck it back in here. And it would be like kind of like a hidden note. If I can get my fingers to work, because I feel another cough coming on. Sorry. Okay. This page is hinged in. And this is a time card. A little fabric number there. Washi tape here. And then another hinge here. So, it's a hinge with a fabric tag. Hinge, hinge, and hinge. And then an open flip and another hinge. And that's all before the first page. So... And again, y'all, there's probably better ways of doing this. This is just my rendition. So, on the back, I've hinged these two little flips here. More fabric tags. And this one I just stapled on. And then it's hinged with some washi. This I love. So, Dee had made these little flowers that are laminated flowers. No, me and Dee made these, actually. We made these on our craft day. Or did she already make them? No, she had already... I don't remember, y'all. It was a busy day. She and I made these. Yeah, because one of them bent. Where did it go? Yeah, one of them got caught in the laminator and bent. And I don't see it now, but you know me. I'm not getting rid of it. I still think it's beautiful and can be used, and I will use it. But this is one I made once I got home, and you'll see... I made a lot, and they're in here. I put all of them in here that I made after I got home, except for this one. And who knows, I'm liable to find somewhere to tuck that in before this is over. So what we did was, take that out. This is an old calendar page from 1940, and it's the month of October, which is my birthday month. So that's my favorite month. So it's the month of October. So I put it here. I hinged this page in, folded it, and then on this corner I put this clear laminated flower and created a little tuck spot. And then I put another old 1916 calendar page of October, and in fact that's my birthday right there, and there was writing on it. Dee gave me this. Thank you, Dee. Love it. And I slid that into the little tuck spot with the October and October. And then that page folds, and then here is a piece of file folder that I put there, and behind it, so it's just tucked onto this little piece of paper, but I created a little tuck spot out of that. And then this is another one of my flowers that I laminated from my yard. This has been pressed in a book since spring of 2019. So I laminated that and just tucked it in right there. And then Dee, this is another one of the pockets that she made. If you'll remember, on the front she made it, and I tucked feathers in there. My intentions had been to make this and tuck some of these flowers. Since they're laminated, you would still be able to see her flower collage behind it. But the reason I didn't, well, first of all, like for example, this one's too wide. Most of them ended up being too wide. But second of all, I love these pictures, and I really didn't want to cover them up. So I didn't do that, but I hinged in another one of these little pockets, and it is a pocket. You can slide something into there. See, she used page protector sleeves. I'm excited to try this project. I think it's so cool. And then on this side, again, I just hinged in, it's actually like a signature. it's like its own little signature. I stitched it onto this page, and then I tried to put tabs on all the little individual pages. The glue stuck a little bit on that one. So that's a cigar band, a applique of a flower, a little piece of wallpaper, and a number fabric tab, and then just a piece of paper there, and a guest check here with a little wad of string and rope or twine. And then behind that, it's secured to the bottom of the page with this vintage strip of like wallpaper that Dee gave me. And then when you flip that over, I did the same thing. There's a flip here with this. And then I did a signature style here attached to the back of this page. And again, same scenario. Pam gave me this white bag, so I just coffee stained it, and I love that the number showed on that. Thank you, Pam. And my glue dried here. Pull that apart. Okay, so, and then that flips back over it. On this side, this is a blank check. And so I put it in there, I hinged it, and folded it up and created a little tuck spot. And this is some vintage stationery I have. And this is just an old pancake jamboree ticket that came in as Happy Meal. And then a feather. And then this is basically a signature that I attached in, and I hinged it in with muslin and just attached it like that. So this is basically its own signature, just attached in. So there's just some really cool old paper. There's the center. I have not added anything to the center yet because that's going to just be one of those things that either it gets snipped down or it's going to happen with time of figuring out what fits the personality of this book. But whatever hangs there would show. If I were going to put something there right now, it would be some little rusty washers because that's kind of the style. But who knows? Okay, right here is the next page. And so what I've done here is I've put a rusty paper clip there and then just stapled some pages on, and then you flip the page and there's more stapled onto this side. Does that make sense? So there's the original page here, and there's just papers stapled onto both sides. And the rusty paper clip there to keep the pages from flopping around. Same kind of scenario here. This is a really cool page of Japanese, I think Japanese. And I put a little brad. This came from Kathy at Rust Paper Scissors. She does these really cool rusted brads, and she puts flat beads on them. They're so yummy. So I did the same scenario. Here's the original page right here. And on each side, I've attached some pages. But instead of stapling it, this time I used a rusty brad. And then a rusty paper clip. So that's the way that goes. Here on this page, this is another flip and a really old stamped date up there. I shouldn't say that's old. Okay, so it's 10/16/1947. So like that's my birthday and my dad's year of birth. So yeah, this stamp here, love the stamp, but y'all, it's very hard to change the days. They're so tiny. It's very, I don't know, it's just kind of intricate. I'm sure if I use my little thingy, I can change it easier. There might even be some type of tool that I'm supposed to use. But anyway, so that's the stamp that's used there. So I shouldn't say that's old. It's just grungy and made to look old. And so on this flip here, on the back, I've put this little folder and an old playing card. And it's, I mean, an envelope, not a folder. An envelope, and inside I've just put one of those old soap coupons. I've shown these in other videos. And this is just stamped with a really cool old stamp. So that's the way that is. And then there's just some thread there and a rusty paper clip. And then here I've hinged on another piece of a time card. And then this one here that's underneath it folds upwards like that. And then there's a stamp tab here. And then a little paper tab here with an old stamp on it. So I've done that like that. So then that flips up and there's papers here. And I think here might be a good spot to add. Let me see how tall I want to go with that. So I think here would be a good spot to add a strip of these. If I can cut somewhat straight. Or somewhat around these. Tuck them in there. There we go. And then here is another signature that's just been kind of secured in with some muslin, like that. And inside of this signature is just a bunch of really cool old paper. This came out of a book that Dee had. It's out of a mathematics book. And there's actual lesson writings on that page. So I didn't want to tear that. So I put that as the center of the signature. It's written in pencil. This is some more of the leaves that I've laminated and just kind of tucked in there. And I wasn't sure if this might work pretty well as like a press board for when you're writing on a piece of the paper. It's kind of my thought process, but I haven't tried it. It may not, there might be too much texture with the stems of the leaves. But this is another piece of ledger paper. Again, I don't like to cut stuff, so it has all this writing on it. And so I just put it in there and folded it. Another piece of that old paper. This is watercolor paper here. And then here, just kind of securing these two pages, is some stickers and paper and whatnot that I've glued down. I don't like the way this is poking up, so I'm going to add a little bit of glue to that. I think I just taped that yesterday. Oh, my pen broke. Oh, my glitter glue. I've got to fix that. I don't even know if it's going to come out. That just happened. It may not come out. Huh. Okay. Take these off. And I'll go back and figure out something later for that. I might even just leave it like that. The paper secured on. I actually added that green on late last night, just as an afterthought. This is another one of the pockets that Dee made. This is another laminated flower that I did. It's hard to tell on camera probably, but it's kind of got a yellow hue to it. And it just went perfectly with that. So it doesn't fit very well, but the truth is I wouldn't have wanted to slide it down and cover up the flowers anyway. So I just kind of tucked it in the top like that. Love this page. I think this is probably napkin that she's decoupaged on top of a book page and then covered it with sheet protector. I hinged that in and then hinged in a time card. And then on this original page here, if you flip it over like that, I created kind of a tuck spot here on the back of this so that it's created kind of a side pocket. So here's a tag. And then for this one, you have to actually straighten out this guest check to pull it out. But what I like is the red numbers on this guest check. So I did that this way so that the red numbers show here and there. I just like that look. It looks businessy. Oh my goodness. Okay. This here is an envelope. And I've tucked in one of the feathers that I laminated. Another sip of water. My eyes are itching now. I'm so sorry. I've got itchy eyes, itchy throat. So how cool is that? The sad reality is, if I do not get over this, getting this dust out of my lungs, I will not have my dad come if I'm coughing. because that will still freak me out, even though I know it's from the dust. Ugh. I'm so worried about him. I know he wants to come. I know he wants to be here for Thanksgiving, and I want to encourage him. So where did I leave this paper clip off at? I think I left it back here. Where did I leave this paper clip off at? No telling now, huh? I know I had it somewhere. Oh, well. I'll have to figure out where this... Oh, I think it was on that little envelope, wasn't it? Where I stuck those things in. Oh, no, I put that one back. Okay, well... Was it on his? Okay, we'll have to figure that out later, I suppose. Oh, I bet it was on... Maybe it was on this guest check. Well, I'm putting it there. I don't know. It looks good there. Maybe that's where it was. Oh, I think I'm going to stick some of these in here too. Let's see. Figure out a way to cut these a little bit easier so I'm not having to work around it. Oh, I bet that paper clip was on that bundle right there probably. Who knows? Okay. Moving on. So here, I used another of the laminated flowers that I made, and I created a side tuck here on this page. So this is one of the original pages that's sewn into the cover, and I created this tuck spot, and then I made this little, I guess, single signature style mini booklet with all these cool papers in it. This is handmade paper. My friend Dee, her sister, made this paper. So this is some handmade paper from her. So I did that. And then I just tucked this in behind the flower because I didn't want anything to distract from that pretty flower. Washi tape down there and hinge this in. Now I do glue in all of my washi tape. Again, for me, one of the other videos, and again, I'm not critiquing anybody's video because their journals were awesome, amazing. So I'm not critiquing anyone. I'm critiquing myself. I'm not delicate with my books. And so like her washi tape was coming off kind of like the way this one was. And I'll take them out. I can't do that. I wish I were more delicate. I'm just not. I have to make my books to where they can be, you know, flipped through and thrown around, so to speak. So anyway, so I glue in all of the washi, except I did not do this last night. I put this in as an afterthought last night. But that's lessons learned. I would highly encourage anyone to make one of these and do it your own style. That's the beauty of it. That's why I'm saying this is my interpretation of a passport journal. This is hinged in like that. And then I just did a lot of little folds and a little tab right there. This I did again as kind of like a signature. I love this paper because it said Macon on it, and that was where I was born and raised. And that's an old area code for Macon. That's old. And then just some really cool old papers in this. And I tried to put little tabs on a lot of the pages. And if one piece, y'all, this style doesn't have, it's not, I shouldn't say it's not. You can do whatever you want. I mean, that's the beauty of this. But for me, I didn't want that style of having it be all about fabrics and trims. I wanted it to be this layered, grungy paper look. But I did put this one piece of old fabric in here. Like that. In fact, I had a little doily. Where, I don't know where it's at. It's somewhere on my desk. I had this little doily I was going to put in here. And I couldn't do it. It changes the whole look of the book to me. And I didn't want that look. But again, that's one of those things. You play around and do what you like. An old stamp there. This is an old card, a message of cheer. May the giver of all gifts send health again to you and bless you every day in all that you may do. And this is so pretty and old. You know, I might go through and snip that so that these pages turn. I didn't think about that. I just hate altering something that's old. But I think that would be a good idea to do. And that's the center of the signature. I found this pretty fabric that I have that looks so pretty with that. Love it. So see the little signature stamp? I got these old stamps from Selena at Amour Fabrics. I bought these old stamps. So there's like a signature stamp and old business stamps. They're so cool. Some of them aren't smooth stamps. I guess they've been worn down over the years, but they're old and grungy, and I love them. And so that's one of the stamps there. A little paper with a fabric tag there, one of the other stamps. The other piece of that fabric, a little tab up here. So I think you're kind of starting to get the idea of what I've done. It's a lot of flips, a lot of little signatures added in. This is the other side of that page that said making on it. And then I just stitched in a little bundle of papers on this side. So this is an old drugstore prescription paper, and it's blank other than their information stamped on it. And then an old check from 1887. An old prescription from, it was like 1951. And then some more of that handmade paper. And then on this page, I've just hinged in. I just did this morning. I hinged in this Viewmaster. I like to use these as pockets. It's one of the little Viewmaster envelopes, the old reels, very vintage. And I put in one of the cook's labels. I don't like to, I've said it in other videos, you can attach this to a page with glue, but to me, I love being able to feel of how authentic and vintage it is. So I like just tucking it into the books. So I've hinged that in like that. And then on this page, I've run some twine down it and attached a key. Originally, I had this key kind of hanging lower, but it took away from that. I didn't want charms hanging all out of this or keys or anything. It kind of took away from the look of you know, whatever this look is. I didn't want a distraction of a key hanging out. So I took it all. I mean, I raised it up. I did put some little reinforcers of some rusted up washers around that hole because of the weight of the key. So I did that and ran the twine through. And then this is a little miniature journal with the cover. So see, I didn't put charms on the center of that little booklet. I just made it with some old papers. And it's just a little tiny, I'm saying mini booklet. It's just a bundle of papers. But I used the little cover as a tally scorecard and stitched it in and then attached it here on just the edges to create a little tuck spot there. And I just tuck these in like that. Some washi behind it. And then on the other side of the page, I did similar thing. Now I sewed this by machine, whereas this, I kind of hand stitched it with some of the wax thread. This side, I just stitched some papers down. And again, it's the coordinating papers that's been used throughout. And I just thought it looked so pretty with this pattern. So that's what I did there. I really hope some of y'all try this. And please comment below. Send me pictures of it. I love hearing from everyone. I did before so many times. I'm sitting here in my craft room. I have a TV in here, and I get YouTube playing on my TV. So often I sit and read y'all's comments, but I'm not in a way to where I can type to reply to it. So sometimes it's a couple of days later that I go in and start responding when I have a moment to sit down and respond to everyone. So, but I do really enjoy reading your comments. So please leave comments below. Hopefully you like the journal. And I'm going to put the rest of these in this little bag. So I have this can. It's this really old can. And I have some stuff in it that I just won't use because I don't know why. I like to just pull it out sometimes and look through it. It's just old stuff. And this bag was in there. I don't know that this bag is really old. It feels old and it looks old, but I also know that some people can be really good at grungy and up stuff. So I really don't know how old this is, but I sure like the look of it. So it came out of that can, and I just put a rusty paper clip there. This is fabric here. Again, this journal doesn't have a lot of fabric, but this had those pretty flowers, and I thought against that it just looked very pretty. And then I don't know if you can see on this bag, but there's little lines that almost looks corrugated, like cardboard. And then I have the cardboard here, so I just liked the pattern cardboard. That just, for me, your eye just does that. Just like over here, I put this on this morning, and in my mind, where's that piece of paper with the macon on it? It was somewhere with that paper with the macon. You could see this little bit of blue. There it is. You could see the blue and blue, and so I thought that made that pop a little bit better. Maybe not. I don't know, but that's just how my thought process goes, and if anything, maybe it inspires somebody, maybe not. Another cigar band, little piece of trim there, some of the paper, and then a fabric tag there. And now we are finally getting to the end. So this here, this is the original paper here. This is where I secured in this signature like this to that page. And then here I just collaged some. This is about something to do with baking fish, I think. So it just was a cute little old book page. I used that there, put a piece of the upholstery fabric down here. On the back side, I sewed on a stick just because I like the way that looks. And then this is another of the flowers out of my yard. I did this last night, and I just tucked that in. I love that flower right there. I don't even know what it's called. I love flowers. I love botanical stuff. I'm just not real smart about knowing names of flowers and things like that, but I like looking at them. So this might be the only blank page in the whole journal. All I did on this one is just hinged in this thin piece of like cardboard right there, and I hinged on some of that upholstery fabric. It's right there, like that. So yeah, there's one little page that has nothing on it. I don't think I'm going to add anything to that page right now. But anyway, and then that's the back of the journal. And so this is how it is right now. There's the top view. There's the side view. So, and there's the bottom view. So laying on a table, it definitely does not sit flat, but I didn't want it to. It definitely has a very thick, grungy, layered look. So anyway, that's my version of a passport journal. Maybe I shouldn't even call it a passport journal. Y'all don't get too mad at me if I am messing up by saying it's a passport journal. It's the same dimensions. It's the same concept. It's just my rendition. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for the ones that hung out with me for the whole video. Sorry it's so long. What are we at? 43 minutes. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to shut up. Hope everyone's doing well, staying healthy and safe. And I hope everyone has a blessed day. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. To my new subscribers, welcome, welcome. And look back over some of my videos. This is kind of outside of my normal style, but I sure did enjoy it. Love you guys. Y'all have a blessed day.